Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today's video is very simply a small, quick channel update showing you a couple of things I've picked up to work on, but the main reason for today's video is to say thank you because just over a week ago the channel passed 10,000 subscribers, which I genuinely never thought it would do, and I know I've said that with each milestone that the channel has hit, but it does mean an awful lot, and I did want to just take a second to say thank you. I was away on a trip away with my wife at the time, visiting lots of battlefields, or making her visit lots of battlefields and sites, drinking a lot of beer, eating a lot of food, and I wasn't able to do it at the time, so I just wanted to take the time to say thank you very much. If you're a subscriber who's been with me from the start when I made that very first video about how, let's see how contrast paints work on historical miniatures. I think I was painting the Wars of the Roses light cavalry at the time, and all through those battle reports, and thank you very much. And to all the recent subscribers as well, thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the content. I've got a lot that's coming, and I look forward to chatting with you. So what's been going on the channel? Well, as you've probably seen, there's been quite a few videos across various projects. The main projects are all still going, but as I've said before, instead of doing an update every time I've done a new unit or a new command base, I like to update when I've actually done a block of things. So there is a new update on the Gallic Wars coming. The next video that's out on the channel is actually a battle report from the Wars of the Roses. It's one that I'm really looking forward to sharing with you because we're trying some new things in there. And it was a lot of fun to put together, and it's semi-historical, so I got to sort of, really delve into some research and try and develop a scenario. We've got another First Crusade battle report coming, which will be the end of the second stage of our campaign, leading into sort of the climax, which will be the Battle of Dorylaeum. We're also going to be doing some things like Soldiers of Napoleon, maybe some fantasy gaming as well at some point. We are going to be looking more back at the Wars of the Roses, and of course there will be some Black Powder again at some point as well, and I'm sure that Haley is going to be back to try and beat me at the Gallic Wars. So what I thought I'd do is just spin the camera around and just show you some of the things that I've picked up recently that I'm going to be working on. I went to Salute, which was great fun, and I got to meet quite a lot of people, like game designers and just people as well who just came up to say hi. So if that was one of you, then thank you very much. It was awesome. I've got some plans on some projects, and I picked up a few things to sort of assist. So why don't I just spin the camera around and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so as I said, I went to Salute in April, which I know was sort of 2 months ago now, but I've only just got around to actually looking at some of the things that I bought. I kind of bought them, put them away, and then sort of cracked on with some of the other things I had. Now, one of the main things that I wanted was the new rulebook for Dead Man's Hand, Dead Man's Hand Redux. Now, they did the Kickstarter, Great Escape Games. I didn't back the Kickstarter basically because I have so much stuff for Dead Man's Hand already. I didn't really see the point in getting anything else that I wouldn't then be able to work on, so I thought I'd just wait and then get the rulebook, and it looks really nice. I like the new cards and the new format, and this looks like a really nice change. Well, I say change, it's just a sort of, just a new layout, more examples. There's a few bits and bobs that have changed in here, but I'm looking forward to having some games of this, so I might try and do a sort of a Dead Man's Hand 2 battle report just to sort of see how that plays. But if anyone's interested in sort of like a more in-depth flip through of this, just let me know. I don't think it's particularly going to be different to the original, but I can certainly have a look. But that was something that I was very keen on picking up. So next up, I wanted to sort of expand my Gallic Wars forces, and to do that I decided that the Romans needed some ranged ability. So I went over to the Wargames Foundry stand and I picked up some Cretan archers and 2 packs of Balearic slingers. Now that should let me build a small unit of Cretan archers and then a standard unit of slingers for use in Hail Caesar. And these are really nice looking models. They're a little bit smaller than the Warlord ones, but I don't think that's going to matter too much. They've got a nice sort of character about them, so you'll expect to see those on a tabletop soon. I don't think they're going to be particularly complicated to paint, so I hope to have an update with these in fairly quickly after I start. There's a nice little character about them. So yeah, so that's what I got with those. So those were actually the only miniatures I bought at Salute, but at the same time I did order something else. So, a few days before Salute, I saw that Aventine Miniatures had released a new pack of late Republican Romans, so Caesarian, so again, the time period that I want, and they looked awesome. And the reason I liked sort of how they looked and what they were doing was mainly because of this. They have released a set with covered scutums. So, the Roman shields that are so recognizable, they would have these sort of leather coverings over them, sort of almost a seal on top of it. And I just thought, first of all, that's great because it means no shield transfers and no trying to hand paint designs, but it also will just look very, very different on the tabletop. So I got a whole unit, and on the Aventine website, I'll leave a link for it down below, you can sort of mix and match. Now the thing is as well, Aventine have announced that they are going to be closing in about 12 months time, and maybe just a little bit more than that. So I really hope someone else picks up this line because these miniatures are just fabulous. Here is the standard bearer that came with the command set that I wanted with this, and just look at that detail. Absolutely fabulous. And if we have a look at some of the other miniatures that are in here, what was really nice about this set is that the Romans have actually been sculpted with the adopted leather. I want to call them leather jerkins, but more like, you know, it's essentially like a leather vest that they've put over themselves to protect themselves from missile weapons. There's spare standard there. Definitely find a use for that. Here is the horn, the musician, lovely. And if you have a look, I mean, hang on a second, just check out the centurion here. Really, really nice, really nice. The helmets are all based on contemporary, well, archaeological evidence, historical evidence. Really nice. As you can see, this is what I'm talking about here. They got this sort of leather jerkin, and some of the Romans as well. I think I've managed to pick out the pack here that didn't have any in it. Hang on a second. Let me just have a check on these. There we are. After much rippling around, you can see them on there. So those little sort of wings on the side of his helmet just add a lot of character. Something else I was impressed about with these is actually the pilums. Really nice, really solid. It'll give a nice varied unit. So I'm very, very impressed with these, and I hope they actually paint up as not, well, I think they will paint up really nicely. And what I'll be doing, I'll certainly be picking up another couple of units worth of models for these, because 16 is the perfect size for the Roman units that I'm using in the Gallic Wars. So then we have a Roman unit, something else. So even though I didn't buy that at Salute, because I ordered it the day before, I counted it as sort of in the same haul. Okay, so finally, the last couple of things I bought at Salute are to do with a project that I'm looking at doing in the future. Now, I went over to the Hellion stand, who make some cracking books, and I was lucky enough to find two. Well, actually, one of them was pointed out to me by Miller, so I have him to blame for spending more money. So, if you've watched some of my updates before, or you've seen the Plastic Crack podcast, you might have remembered that me mentioning that I am very, very interested in the Great Northern War, particularly the Russians in that war. And I basically, it's a long-term project, something that I would like to work on. Again, it's just more stuff for the pile of opportunity. I haven't bought any figures yet, though I am eyeing up quite a few, and I'm going through that same thing again of how do I want to do this. Do I want to do it in 6, 15, 28? I mean, the thing is, you know me guys, I love 28mm because I love detail and diorama and creating sort of narratives with the basing. But this book here, put that one aside for a second, which is a guide to wargaming by Mark Sherwood, produced by Hellion, is just an absolute wealth of information and ideas. It has a complete run through of the war, and I mean, this is a brief introduction, and then it kind of goes through sort of just all what you need to know, really, how the armies are organized, looking at basic uniforms as well. All the belligerents are in here because it wasn't just the Swedes and the Russians. The Danish are involved, obviously the Polish, Lithuanian Commonwealth are involved. There's even some English sort of backed stuff in here as well. It goes through, gives you ideas for scenarios as well, and the potential for campaigns. And do you know what? I think every period could do with a book like this. I know we have access to the Osprey books, but you could really do with a guide to wargaming, the Wars of the Roses, that just breaks all of this down. I know that I would, well, even though I wouldn't necessarily need that, I would buy it. There we go. So lots of really nice stuff, and it's something that I'm looking forward to getting stuck into, and I might just start picking things up for this as time goes on. The other book was a guide, quite a thick, comprehensive guide to the Russian army in the Great Northern War, and I'll be getting the Swedish equivalent of this one. However, I think there are two for the Swedes, and this one goes into a lot more detail, all about equipment and, you know, breaking everything down. It's got a huge section in here on colours for flags and for the uniforms. Lots of really nice plates. If you're interested in this period or the Great Northern War, or maybe you're not, maybe this is something that's new, it's a fabulous book. I mean, look at this stuff here, loads of ideas. So I will definitely be pursuing this. It's just a question of when, but I always enjoy having books to pick up and read, so I've been working my way through those. Something else that I've been working on, of course, I had the releases of the two newest miniatures in Ragged Staff, and the sales for those have been amazing. So much so that I've had to temporarily close the shop because I'm waiting for a huge restock, which is taking its time, because I'd rather just get everything back in and then open it again, rather than sort of just getting a bit in and then opening it and then having to sort of restock. So, but that's fantastic. Now, I had a question asking if I was going to be look at releasing more 54mm miniatures, because the Impatient Heir that I did really well. So here is the Watchful Lord, who currently has only been available in 28mm. This is going to be my test miniature for the 54mm version. I haven't quite decided who I'm painting him up yet as. I imagine it will be maybe one of the Howards at the Battle of Bosworth, because I can get a nice coat of arms on there. There you go. So there's just a little sneak peek of him, and you may see him, or a painted version of him, appearing on the channel quite soon. Now, in my last channel update, I shared with you a quick look through the Graham Turner book for the Wars of the Roses, which was an absolutely fantastic book. What I wanted to do here is show you this book. Now, I was actually given this for my birthday, and I've been trying to get hold of this for quite a while. And the Beauchamp pageant is a... well, I say Beecham, really. The Beecham pageant, however you want to say it. This is a fantastic reference, and I just wanted to share this with you because essentially this is a collection of line drawings that were probably commissioned by the Earl of Warwick, the Kingmaker's widow, in memory of her father, who was Earl of Warwick. And potentially this was going to be for the son of Richard III, so her grandson. So this is depicting the life of Anne Beauchamp's father, but a lot of the styles of the armour that you see in here are actually in the later style. And it's just been a really, really good source for inspiration mainly for thinking of miniature designs for ragged staff, but also just for looking at scenarios and things, and then seeing these references. So bearing in mind that these were drawn in the late 1470s, 1480s, before obviously the death of Edward of Middleham and then eventually Richard III, it never got inked in. But I think it just gives it a lot more character. I mean, look, you can see the bare and ragged staff on the large banner on the ship there. You can also see, look, the retainers here. It's just a lovely set, and there's lots of little nods in here to the Wars of the Roses. So if you're interested in the Wars of the Roses and you want, in the 15th century, and you just want some more reference material, then this book is not cheap, but this book is very, very nice. This one was edited by Alexandra Sinclair, and I think you can get it through places like Amazon. I'm not quite sure where my mother picked this one up for. It was a present from her. Speaking of the medieval period, let me just finish on one other thing I'm working on. Okay, so as you can see, I have a large building. Now, this nearly drove me mad. This is a printed building. I can't even remember where I got the file now. It wasn't expensive. It was really, really cheap. However, there was no pre-supports for it. I gotta say, it wasn't the greatest file. The file, there were quite a few errors and things I had to correct in it, and quite a few failed prints. So basically, as I've been printing things, I would chuck a section of this in. Now, I actually printed this in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different sections. This is not removable. After the hell I had trying to stick this together, that's never coming off. But I thought it had loads of character, and I want to be doing a lot more in my medieval gaming and my English Civil War gaming, and this would fit quite nicely. So I thought that kind of sort of tiled roof, thatch, and then tiled, get just something a bit different and a bit of character. To give you an idea of scale, hang on, where's my supply chap? There he is. So made the doorways just a little bit small, but who cares? Again, it's just going to look good on the table. So I'm going to be painting this up over the next few days, and I am going to be getting some more buildings as well, because I have plans for looking at I'm looking at the Lancastrian attack on Dunstable that took place just before the Second Battle of St Albans, and the locals basically sort of tried to see them off, and it didn't go too well. So I want to have plenty of buildings and a church as well, and these buildings are useful for lots of things. So there we go. That's what I've been working on, and that's what's coming up on the channel. So guys, thank you so much for watching this, and thank you again for helping me reach 10,000 subs. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate the views. There's plenty coming, so please do comment on those videos and just let me know what you think. Is there anything coming that I haven't mentioned that you would like to see? I do try to cover as much as possible, and no project is ever truly dead. It's just I like to move around a little bit. Anyway, I hope you guys are all well. Look after yourselves, and I will see you all again in the next one. Cheers.